Welcome! Join us as we explore the Huế Imperial City, the Thien Mu Pagoda, and the tomb of Emperor Gia Long in Vietnam. The Imperial City is a walled enclosure within the Citadel of the city of Huế. It is the former imperial capital of Vietnam during the Nguyen dynasty. The grounds of the Imperial City are protected by fortified walls, 2 k's by 2 k's, and ringed by a moat. The water in the moat is routed from the Hurong River through a series of gates. Within the Imperial City is the Purple Forbidden City, a term identical to the Forbidden City in Beijing. Access to the innermost enclosure was restricted to the imperial family. It contained the palaces that housed the imperial family, as well as shrines, gardens, and offices. Constructed in 1804 under Emperor Gia Long, it mostly served a ceremonial function during the French colonial period. In its prime, the Purple Forbidden City had many buildings and hundreds of rooms. Once vacated, it suffered from neglect, termite ravages, and inclement weather, including a number of cyclones. Most destructive were man-made crises, as evidenced by the bullet holes still visible from the military conflicts of the 20th century. Major losses occurred in 1947 when the Viet Minh seized the citadel. The French led counter-attack operations where they laid siege and engaged in a 6-week battle, which destroyed many of the major structures. The core of the city, including the Imperial Palace, was burned. The citadel came under fire again in the early morning of January 31, 1968. As part of the Tet Offensive, a division-sized force of the People's Army of Vietnam and Viet Cong soldiers launched a coordinated attack on Huế, seizing most of the city. During the initial phases of the Battle of Huế, due to its religious and cultural status, US troops were ordered not to bomb or shell the city, for fear of destroying the historic structures. But as casualties mounted, these restrictions were progressively lifted and the fighting caused substantial damage to the Imperial City. Viet Cong troops occupied some portions of the citadel, while South Vietnamese troops occupied others, and Allied warplanes targeted the anti-aircraft guns the communists had mounted on the citadel's outer towers. Out of 160 buildings, only 10 major sites remain after the battle. The Imperial City was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1993 as part of the complex of the Huế monuments. built on a small hill overlooking the Hurong River, 4 kilometers southwest of the Citadel. This 7-story pagoda is an icon of Vietnam and as potent a symbol of Hue as the Citadel. The 21-meter high octagonal tower was constructed under the reign of Emperor Gia Long in 1844. Thien Mu Temple, meaning Temple of the Celestial Lady. Each of its stories is dedicated to a Manushi Buddha, a Buddha that appeared in human form. Thien Mu Pagoda was originally founded in 1601 by Nguyen Huang, governor of Tuan Ho province. Over the centuries, its buildings have been destroyed and rebuilt several times. The temple and its buildings were severely damaged in a cyclone in 1904. Emperor Thien Thai authorized reconstructions in 1907, although it was still substantially less grand and expansive as its halcyon days. This hillside monument is a synthesis of Vietnamese and European elements. It can be found 10 km from Hue in Chau Chu village. The tomb was built in Khai Dinh, the 12th and penultimate emperor of the Nguyen dynasty of Vietnam, who served from 1916 to 1925. It features a blend of Vietnamese architecture with Western styles. The tomb was completed in 1931 after 11 years of construction. In 1916, Khai Dinh became the Emperor of Vietnam after his predecessor was exiled by the French colonial government. Khai Dinh worked closely with the government of France. Due to this close collaboration, he was very unpopular amongst the people of Vietnam. He also allegedly raised taxes by 30%. Like a number of Vietnamese emperors, Khai Dinh desired the preparation of a tomb in anticipation of his death. Construction began on 4th of September 1920 but would not be complete by the time of Khai Dinh's death in 1925. The 3-day funeral took place in late January 1926 and the procession travelled from the Imperial City to the unfinished tomb. 6 years after Khai Dinh's death, the tomb was completed under Bao Dai, Khai Dinh's son and successor in 1931. Along the way is a salutation court with 2 rows of stone figures and animals lining the pathway to the tomb. The stone statues, a practice originating from China, were meant to protect the grave and guide the spirit of the deceased to and from the tomb. Unlike other Nguyen dynasty tombs, his tomb features more detailed officers, attendants and animals, and its more compact area necessitated using double rows. At the top terrace is the Thien Dinh Palace, which is the main structure of the tomb complex and consists of 5 connected halls. The greyish-white exterior has 5 arch entrances. The interior of the palace is an explosion of colour with lavish embellishments throughout. The ceiling is decorated with 9 intricate dragons. The left hall contains a collection of Khai Dinh's personal memorabilia, including photographs, gifts from the French government, such as silver and porcelain dinner sets, bejeweled belts, swords and ornaments, as well as a realistic life-size bronze statue of Khai Dinh in full regalia carrying a sword. In the centre of the palace is the altar room. The rear room of the palace is home to a temple containing Khai Dinh's grave, an altar to him, and another bronze statue of his likeness seated in traditional imperial clothing. His remains are interred 18 metres below the statue. If you like this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe and join us for our next adventure.